Namaste, Jai Bharat. The Boeing crash at Amadavad has given a lot of mysteries. No one really knows. No one really knows what must have happened. Maybe the investigating agencies did come across plausible possibilities, but then it is not often translated into common sense language, common language for people to understand. And maybe they don't want to disclose everything naturally. And if there is any problem or the problem was with the aircraft, then obviously the Boeing company wouldn't want it to be known to people. All these things are there, but so many stories, so many narratives. And out of that, something appeared plausible. And that's simply this. The aircraft has something like an artificial intelligence. Not really artificial intelligence, but something akin to such a thing. And there was a software glitch in some stages of the machinery. And the aircraft did not realize that it took off. This is a plausible explanation. It took off, but aircraft's intelligence did not realize that it is airborne. So the requisite engine thrust to get airborne was not generated. So the thrust was not developed. Because just imagine, this is how one could put it in the plain language. Just imagine that this guy is going to get airborne and is moving, and to really get airborne it needs X amount of engine thrust and all other necessary things to get afloat in the air. And suppose the aircraft is thinking is a crude word, but let me call this later. Suppose the aircraft is thinking and is trying to understand, and it feels or thinks that it's still on the runway. Still on the runway, at which stage we can't say. Maybe in the beginning, or maybe suppose the aircraft is thinking that it is taxiing or going to the takeoff point from where it can take off after ATC clearance. We do not know. But the point which this narrative was saying is that the aircraft didn't realize that it has taken off. It thinks that it's still on the runway. So that much of engine thrust is not necessary. So it did not develop. And if it does not develop, even after getting even after taking out, even after getting airborne, it has to go further. Needs power. That power is not given. So instead of going up, it just went down, fell down, that's it. And nothing more can be done. This is one theory. Possible or not possible. The experts should know. And as a matter of fact, there's no point in everyone knowing and understanding the technical aspects which is not available to people. Even if it is told that they won't understand. But this indicates in a different direction. The depending on machines alone could become disastrous. It has all the advantages. It has all the advantages, perfections, etc., etc., etc. But the human element is far more than this. The human element is meta. It's beyond physical knowing. You see, the science that studies physical world is called as physics. And then, do you think that world stops at physical world? No one wants to agree to that. No one shall want. If you think that the world is limited to the physical world, then you can turn into a materialist, and you automatically turn into a materialist. And majority of people don't want to be materialists. So they think of something beyond physics. And from there, the name comes. Greek origin, of course, metaphysics, beyond physics. So beyond engines there should be something which we are not able to decipher as we take paper, pencil and write it. That can't be demonstrated as you can demonstrate a solid scientific equipment. So there are things beyond physics where, let me simply say, that human element is called for, the human efficiency is called for. One more point I would like to say. Way back, so 40 years plus, roughly 40 to 50 years before, we in the Indian Air Force were using MiGs as the most sought after fighter aircraft. We have fighter, everything is there with MiGs. And then somewhere during that period, 40 years, 40 50 years between that time, the Mirage came. Then I found an old friend making a comparison. Says Mirage doesn't depend on human ability. Everything is there. There are equipments, there are computers, there is thing, you just read the thing and then go about doing whatever. But the mix calls for individual ability where the skill of a pilot gets counted a lot and it can outmaneuver an instrument depending aircraft. Now this is what people used to say usually those days, those who are flying. And this is a point to be thought of. This is a point to be understood. Don't try to forgo the human element and become totally dependent on equipments and machine. Just another example that we used to give those days is that no matter whichever advanced weapons you give to Pakistan, the person sitting behind or the person operating that equipment is after all a Pakistani. Now, that we say because we understand disability and deficiency and dedication and skills. There are exceptions, could be exceptions, all right, but I'm talking generally. Hey, whatever you give to him, it's a Pakistani who's going to operate. The operating efficiency has a limit. No matter whatever wonderful guns you give them, whatever wonderful equipments you give them, the more complicated, the more difficult it becomes for them to get the equipment performed. We used to say it as not really as a joke, but as a joke also, seriously also, because that is our experience with them. So maybe because the Boeing has all kinds of advanced techniques and advanced softwares, and a software glitch killed so many people. And indeed, it's the company to be blamed. Who says we are foolproof? Because the US had been doing it at every point. They said their fighters steal it, can't be seen. Of course, we saw it. And we brought it down. Not just once. Another one came. That was for espionage. And if you go for an espionage or a recce, this kind of risk is involved for a pilot and also for the machine. But that's a mission. Mission is recce. So this is involved. This is understood. They are expected to take that risk and they do it. But then once they are caught, all the stories becomes nullified. That you're invisible and invincible gets nullified. So that's being loud, like the Lahoris. So perhaps the US is studying for being Lahoris. Loud mouth. And Shakespeare has written long before their play, much ado about nothing. We shall meet again. Namaste. Jai Bharat, Jai Siya Ram.